A very good morning. It's just past 8 this Monday morning and time again for the breakfast show. I'm Rukma and over the next 1 hour, we take you through the major happenings from across India and the world. Beginning with a detailed report of all that the Prime Minister stressed upon in his first Mann Ki Baat broadcast of the year 2020, as India's military might and immense cultural diversity were showcased in the national capital celebrations of our 71st Republic Day. We spoke with chief guest of the event this year, President Jair Bolsonaro of Brazil. Excerpts from that exclusive chat, followed by an update of the Delhi Assembly poll campaigning. And the latest on the novel coronavirus, as the death toll and infected cases show an alarming rise. Other international news as well as top stories from sports. We also take a look at the major events in newspapers from the national capital this morning. But first, the headlines.
Headlines is sponsored by Wonder Cement. Ek perfect shuruaat.
In the first Mann Ki Baat of New Year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights the recent agreement on the settlement of Bryant tribals to stress that violence is not a solution of any problem, says all issues can be resolved peacefully through dialogue. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails the government and people of Assam for hosting spectacular Khelo India Youth Games, appreciates the emergence of girl power in sports and also the players coming from underprivileged sections of society. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro says India and Brazil have drawn up an ambitious action plan for implementing the strategic partnership between the two countries. In an exclusive interview to Doordarshan News Network, elaborates that Brazil is keen to deepen cooperation with India in the sphere of energy. India's 71st Republic Day is celebrated across the country and abroad. President Ram Nath Kovind unfurls the tricolour at capital Delhi's Rajpath in the presence of chief guest Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays homage to fallen soldiers at the National War Memorial. China beefs up nationwide action as novel coronavirus kills 80, infects over 2,700 in the country. Chinese authorities say coronavirus is infectious in its incubation period before symptoms show, making it harder to contain. Countries worldwide step up security checks at airports. Canada and Los Angeles confirm first case of coronavirus. In sports, American basketball legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter reported dead in helicopter crash in Southern California. NBA says it is devastated by the tragic incident. Tributes from politicians, fellow sports stars and celebrities pour in, many expressing shock. India beat New Zealand by 7 wickets in the second T20 International at Auckland, lead the 5-match series 2-0. KL Rahul with another brilliant half-century guides India to victory.
Headlines was sponsored by Wonder Cement. Ek perfect shuruaat.
And a very good morning to all our viewers once again. We begin with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's shared thoughts in his first Mann Ki Baat of the year. In the broadcast at 6 in the evening yesterday, the Prime Minister said that violence solves nothing, as he made an appeal to those trying to find solutions through violence to use peaceful means instead. He cited many examples to make his point. One of them was the recent agreement on the settlement of Bryant tribals.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that violence doesn't solve any problems and the country has the ability to resolve issues in a peaceful manner. Addressing the nation through his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister said that any problem can be solved by finding more solutions through peaceful manner and not by creating more problems. Prime Minister also appealed to all those who are trying to find solution through violence to come back to the table and find solution through peaceful means.
हिंसा किसी समस्या का समाधान नहीं करती। दुनिया की किसी भी समस्या का हल कोई दूसरी समस्या पैदा करने से नहीं, बल्कि अधिक से अधिक समाधान ढूंढकर ही हो सकता है। आइए हम सब मिलकर एक ऐसे नए भारत के निर्माण में जुट जाएं, जहां शांति हर सवाल के जवाब का आधार हो, एकजुटता हर समस्या के समाधान के प्रयास में हो और भाईचारा हर विभाजन और बंटवारे की कोशिश को नाकाम करे।
Prime Minister cited numerous examples of solving problems through peaceful means. Prime Minister said that the recent long-standing Bru-Riang refugee crisis was put to an end through peaceful means. Bru-Riang tribals had to leave Mizoram and take refuge in Tripura in 1997. They were deprived of basic amenities while living in camps as refugees. Government took note of it and helped sign an agreement to permanently settle the Bru-Riang refugees in Tripura. Thanking the Chief Ministers of Mizoram and Tripura, Prime Minister said that the agreement depicts the essence of cooperative federalism.
यह समझौता कई वजहों से बहुत खास है। यह कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म की भावना को दर्शाता है। यह समझौता भारतीय संस्कृति में समाहित करुणा भाव और सहृदयता को भी प्रकट करता है। सभी को अपना मानकर चलना और एकजुटता के साथ रहना इस पवित्र भूमि के संस्कारों में रचा बसा है। एक बार फिर इन राज्यों के निवासियों और ब्रू रियांग समुदाय के लोगों को मैं विशेष रूप से बधाई देता हूँ।
The Prime Minister also gave other examples where people have shunned the path of violence and joined the mainstream. In January, in Assam, 644 militants from 8 outfits laid down their arms in Guwahati and joined the mainstream. Similarly, last year in Tripura, over 80 people shunned violence and returned to the mainstream. Noting that peace and unity is the only way forward to resolving disputes, Prime Minister expressed happiness over the fact that insurgency has come down to a great extent in the northeast. Bureau Report, DD India.
The Prime Minister also spoke on the Khelo India Youth Games in Guwahati. He said they showed increasing interest towards sports among school children. He also expressed happiness that sportspersons among the poor and the underprivileged in the country were emerging at the national level.
Addressing the nation through his program Man Ki Baat, the Prime Minister expressed happiness over the fact that recently concluded Khelo India Youth Games in Guwahati proved that interest in sports among school children is on the rise. At Khelo India Youth Games, 80 records were broken, and out of which 56 were broken by girls. Prime Minister hailed the achievement of the daughters of the country in Khelo India Youth Games.
22 जनवरी को ही गुवाहाटी में तीसरे खेलो इंडिया गेम्स का समापन हुआ है। इसमें विभिन्न राज्यों के लगभग 6000 खिलाड़ियों ने हिस्सा लिया। आपको ये जानकर आश्चर्य होगा कि खेलों के इस महोत्सव के अंदर 80 रिकॉर्ड टूटे और मुझे गर्व है कि जिनमें से 56 रिकॉर्ड तोड़ने का काम हमारी बेटियों ने किया है। ये सिद्धि बेटियों के नाम हुई है। मैं सभी विजेताओं के साथ इसमें हिस्सा लेने वाले सभी प्रतिभागियों को बधाई देता हूँ।
Prime Minister also expressed happiness over the fact that sports persons belonging to underprivileged sections of society have done well in Khelo India Youth Games.
सिर्फ 3 वर्षों में खेलो इंडिया गेम्स के माध्यम से 3200 प्रतिभाशाली बच्चे उभर कर सामने आए हैं। इनमें से कई बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो अभाव और गरीबी के बीच पले बढ़े हैं। खेलो इंडिया गेम्स में शामिल होने वाले बच्चों और उनके माता पिता के धैर्य और दृढ़ संकल्प की कहानियां ऐसी हैं जो हर हिंदुस्तानी को प्रेरणा देगी। अब गुवाहाटी की पूर्णिमा मंडल को ही ले लीजिए। वो खुद गुवाहाटी नगर निगम में एक सफाई कर्मचारी है, लेकिन उनकी बेटी मालविका ने जहां फुटबॉल में दम दिखाया, वहीं उनके एक बेटे सुजीत ने खो-खो में, तो दूसरे बेटे प्रदीप ने हॉकी में असम का प्रतिनिधित्व किया। कुछ ऐसी ही गर्व से भर देने वाली कहानी तमिलनाडु के योगानंथन की है। वे खुद तो तमिलनाडु में बीड़ी बनाने का कार्य करते हैं, लेकिन उनकी बेटी पूर्णाश्री ने वेट लिफ्टिंग का गोल्ड मेडल हासिल कर हर किसी का दिल जीत लिया।
Prime Minister appealed to all countrymen to enhance physical activity in their daily routine. Over 65,000 schools have got Fit India school certificates through online registration. Prime Minister requested the remaining schools of the country to also become Fit India school by combining sports and physical activities with studies. Bureau Report, DD News.
In an exclusive interview with DD India, Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro said that India and Brazil have drawn up an ambitious action plan to further boost strategic ties. President Bolsonaro said that in his talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they discussed shared interests and the desire to see both Brazil and India become permanent members of the United Nations Security Council.
We do have a great deal of shared interests and desires, such as, for example, joining the UN Security Council. Brazil and India account for 1.5 billion inhabitants, and we rank among the world's 10 largest economies. And our closer ties and relations will certainly ensure that the world will look at us in a different light.
The Brazilian president, who attended the Republic Day celebrations as a chief guest, described Brazil-India ties as perfect.
We have a great deal in common, and there are things that Brazil needs from India, and there are things that India needs from Brazil. So I think I can describe this marriage pretty much as a perfect marriage.
He also said that his country was keen to deepen cooperation with India in spheres such as energy.
Brazil has the world's best and the lowest cost ethanol from sugarcane. It's widely available in India as well, as we know. We are ready to offer India technology to obtain high quality ethanol like ours. It'll be good for India, especially because given the environmental concern, of course, we will be able to help fight air pollution or environmental pollution, which is the case here. It was or used to be the case in the state of São Paulo. On the technology front, Brazil lags way behind as compared to other countries in the world, and India, by contrast, is way ahead vis-a-vis Brazil on the technology front. So if we can achieve good partnerships, of course, the partnerships will be most welcome.
26 January, the day India became a republic, was commemorated across the nation and even abroad with traditional fanfare and pride yesterday. As the tricolour was unfurled and the country's military might was displayed in all its glory, we captured these special moments from all across. The nation celebrated our 71st Republic Day yesterday with a grand military parade and exhibition of her history, cultural diversity and strategic weaponry at Rajpath in the national capital. President Ram Nath Kovind unfurled the tricolour and took the salute of the parade. President of Brazil Jair Bolsonaro was the chief guest at the parade this year.
Raksha Mantri Shri Rajnath Singh.
The Republic Day ceremony commenced with Prime Minister Narendra Modi paying homage to martyrs at the National War Memorial instead of Amar Jawan Jyoti. The national flag was unfurled, followed by the national anthem with a booming 21-gun salute.
The Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi leads the nation in paying homage to the immortal soldier.
The parade started from Vijay Chowk and proceeded towards the Red Fort grounds. It was commanded by Parade Commander Lieutenant General Asit Mistry, General Officer Commanding Headquarters, Delhi area. Winners of the highest gallantry awards followed him. They include the winners of the Paramveer Chakra and the Ashok Chakra.
Parade Commander Major General.
The country's military might, cultural diversity, social and economic progress was on display at the Republic Day parade at Rajpath. For the first time, a contingent of women bikers of the CRPF performed daredevil stunts. 16 states and union territories and 6 central ministries participated in the parade.
2 9mm pistols in both her hands while balancing herself amazingly on her motorcycle. Look, all so easy and effortless. Rolling down Rajpath now, 4 daredevils donning different uniforms worn by the force while balancing.
Jammu and Kashmir participated in the parade for the first time as a union territory. Startup India, Jal Jeevan Mission and financial inclusion were some of the themes of the tableau of ministries and departments. The Air Force tableau displayed models of the Rafale aircraft, the Tejas, light combat helicopter, Akash missile system and Astra missiles. The major attraction was the flypast by the newly inducted Chinook and Apache helicopters along with the Sukhoi, an advanced light helicopter. Anti-satellite weapon mission Shakti, the Army's battle tank Bhishma were also showcased during the 90-minute long parade.
Wing Commander Indumeet Singh and Wing Commander Praveen Sarathi. Versatile helicopter capable of firing air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles.
And Republic Day was also celebrated at the Embassy of India in Washington, D.C. with great enthusiasm. Over 500 members of the Indian diaspora gathered to attend the traditional flag hoisting by Deputy Indian Ambassador to the U.S. Amit Kumar. He also addressed the gathering and read out the address of the President of India delivered on the eve of Republic Day. Enthusiastic Indian Americans and family members of Indian Embassy officials enthralled the audience with their performances in a cultural program. And I'm moving on to news about the latest in the Delhi polls as campaigning heats up. Union Home Minister and BJP leader Amit Shah is expected to hold public rallies at Rithala and Shani Chowk in Delhi today as part of the campaigning for the assembly elections. BJP President JP Nadda will also hold 3 rallies at Rajinder Nagar, Delhi Cantonment and Moti Nagar. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal will interact with traders at Kedarnath Sahni Auditorium Civic Centre. Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party convener Arvind Kejriwal will hold roadshows at Narela, Bawana and Gandhinagar today. Moving on to news about the weather, the Met Department has issued a warning for heavy rain and snowfall in Himachal Pradesh, even as there was some respite for Kashmir, where the mercury continued its upward trend. In Himachal, meanwhile, the Met Department has forecast rain and snowfall in middle and high hills of the state from January today till Wednesday and on the 31st of this month. It has also issued a yellow warning of heavy rain, snow and snowfall for tomorrow only. For other parts of the country, a cyclonic circulation over parts of Rajasthan and South Gujarat may cause light unseasonal rains in Saurashtra and in Vadodara district, which may lead to a rise in maximum temperatures by 2 to 3 degrees followed by a gradual fall in minimum temperatures over another 2 days. Meanwhile, very light rain or drizzle might occur over most places of Delhi and Gurugram in the next 2 hours. And now news about the coronavirus. The death toll in China has risen to 80 and the number of the infected across the country has touched 2,700. Wuhan, capital of Hubei province and epicenter of the virus outbreaks, says it would suspend visa and passport services for Chinese citizens until January 30th to strengthen control of the virus. The city government is also now setting up a second 1,300-bed coronavirus hospital to receive patients in addition to one 1,000-bedded hospital which will be functional by the 3rd of February. Meanwhile, China has allocated special funds of $1.61 billion to combat the Wuhan coronavirus, targeting disease and pneumonia treatments and medical equipment procurement. World Health Organization chief will reach Beijing today to take stock of the situation and to understand and support the efforts made by the Chinese government to respond to the virus. In a tweet, WHO says it has activated global networks of experts and is trying to activate the response system in various affected countries. China is working on the development of a vaccine which may take some time. Meanwhile, China has extended its week-long Spring Festival break till the 2nd of February in an effort to contain the virus. It is mobilizing doctors, medical staff and health equipment from other provinces to Wuhan as the city is not able to cater to the needs of ballooning cases of infections. It is to be noted that a top Chinese health official has warned that the spread of the deadly new coronavirus could accelerate further, deepening global fears about the illness. Adding to the growing alarm, Director of China's National Health Commission has said that people carrying the virus but not showing symptoms could still infect others. The incubation period, he added, can vary from 1 to 14 days with a typical duration of about 10 days. And joining us now is our correspondent there in China, Anshuman Mishra, who's there in Beijing. Anshuman, well, top Chinese health officials warned yesterday that the spread of coronavirus, already extraordinarily rapid, is accelerating further, deepening global fears. Well, that's the news outside the country. What about within China's borders? How is the Chinese government tackling the disease, the spread of the disease? Also, give us a sense of how it has crippled normal life.
Yes, Rukma, the situation is a little serious, especially in Hubei province where Wuhan is situated, and normal life is badly affected there. As you said, that Wuhan has suspended its exit and entry provisions. Nobody would be able to come inside or go outside. All the transport bans have been put in place there. So as of now, as more and more understanding of the virus is developed, the scientists and China's National Health Commission has said that the virus can accelerate more and more as its ability to spread is more as it was thought previously. And it is more dangerous during its incubation period. That is the period when a person gets infected, and from then for next 2 weeks, this is the incubation period. So during this period, the government is focusing on more on this period and advising people to keep themselves inside their homes under self-examination, and also the focus is on isolating the cases for treatment and not mixing it up with the general treatment kind of thing. Sukma.
Right, Anshuman. Also, it is being said, raising concerns that, the lockdown that China is undertaking right now, the Chinese government is undertaking right now, it has come a bit too late. Meanwhile, while other countries are reporting, in India there are no such reports of any confirmation of cases. But is there any new input from health officials, from doctors there about steps that can be taken further as precautions, as symptoms that should be noticed?
Rukma, the advisories which have been issued by the government from time to time, and in fact, I have also received one SMS from local health authority, which says that you have to wear the mask, you have to try not venturing outside, and if it's required, wear mask. Don't take public transport, don't shake hands with people, wash your hands regularly, observe personal hygiene. All these kinds of advisories are there, and keep yourself inside your house for 14 days if you are coming from an affected area. So these kind of advisories are regularly there, and I think people are observing it also. Regarding the steps taken by China, though these are extreme steps, but at present it seems that these are required very much. So, Rukma, there are two viewpoints.
Right.
Whether this was a late step by Chinese government or not. So, thing is, when the world faces a new virus, it needs some time to study it and understand its mutations and all. So I think that because of the New Year celebrations around the corner when the virus was discovered, maybe Chinese governments would have thought that any panic button should not be pressed immediately, and that might have created little delay also, as per various reports coming out. But then I would like to give the benefit of doubt to Chinese government that without proper information, nobody can take such a drastic step, because obviously this is much wanted, much required step to lock down all the places to stop the spread further. But obviously it is creating a lot of inconvenience to the people there.
Right, right, Anshuman.
There are many issues related to the grocery shopping, related to the stocks at the supermarkets and every kind of thing. But then it is required also, because we don't have a vaccine till now.
Right. And China is saying that it is working on a vaccine, Anshuman. And as you said, full credit to the government because of the quick action it took, because logistically it's stunning the way it has undertaken all these major steps in order to do its best to ensure that the virus does not spread further. Thank you very much, Anshuman, for joining us. And according to the update by the Health Ministry, a total of 29,707 passengers from 137 flights have been screened so far, of which 4,359 passengers of 22 flights were screened yesterday. No case of coronavirus has been found till date. In response to confirmed cases of coronavirus in Nepal, India has stepped up vigilance districts bordering Nepal. Health teams have been deployed at border outposts with Nepal at Jhulaghat and Jauljibi in Pithoragarh district of Uttarakhand. Meanwhile, the External Affairs Ministry has said that as of now, no Indian in China has been affected by the coronavirus outbreak, and the embassy in Beijing is in close touch with all Indians, including university students in Wuhan and elsewhere in Hubei province. The Indian embassy has opened a third hotline to cater to queries of Indians. Ravish Kumar, spokesperson, External Affairs Ministry, also shared updates through a series of tweets. He said, "Our EOI Beijing is in close touch with Indian citizens, including students, to extend assistance, including on possible travel options out of Hubei province. We are also closely coordinating with Chinese authorities. As of now, we understand that no Indian citizen has been affected by the outbreak, and food and water supplies are available to them. Our embassy and consulates general in China will continue to work with Chinese authorities to try and facilitate Indian citizens caught up in these difficult circumstances." Our embassy in Beijing has opened 3 hotlines to respond to concerns of those affected by this situation, and it's continuing to respond to concerns based currently on available information. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed officials to bring back all Sri Lankans, including students in Wuhan and Sichuan provinces of China, where the coronavirus is fast spreading, A press statement from his office said measures are underway to evacuate nearly 150 Sri Lankan students in Chengdu in Sichuan province within the next 48 hours, and a special chartered flight has been deployed for the purpose. Meanwhile, 4 suspected cases of the virus have surfaced, leading health authorities to take precautionary measures. A health official has said those who are arriving from China would be subjected to quarantine at the airport, and anyone suspected to be suffering from fever will be transferred to the IDH hospital. All visitors to Colombo have been urged to wear face masks to counter any threat, given the large presence of Chinese people, both workers and tourists, in the country's main city. Hotels have especially been advised that all their staff should wear face masks. Thailand Health Minister has called an emergency meeting with the Transport and Tourism Ministries to discuss the situation. Public Health Minister spoke to reporters as the number of cases of the disease in Thailand rose on Sunday to 8. 3 of the people infected were being treated and 5 had recovered and gone home. Thailand has the most confirmed cases of the new virus outside China. French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has also called an emergency meeting with ministers to discuss the coronavirus epidemic. France confirmed 3 cases of the virus in the country, in the first in Europe, prompting cancellation of Lunar New Year festivities in Paris and in the southwestern city of Bordeaux. Meanwhile, France has put in place medical screenings for all passengers arriving from China at the Paris airport. French health officials announced the measure, which had been implemented for all flights landing in Paris from Wuhan. South Korea's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed the 3rd case of coronavirus. The 3rd confirmed person is a 50-year-old South Korean resident of Wuhan who arrived back home through Incheon International Airport, but he did not have any symptom when he entered the country on the 20th of January. Meanwhile, the country has decided to classify all parts of China as contaminated. From January 28th, all travelers coming in from China must fill out health questionnaires based on the facts and submit it to the quarantine office when entering South Korea. In Canada, an individual who was declared the country's first presumptive confirmed case of coronavirus developed symptoms on the plane while traveling from Wuhan in China to Toronto. Canada's chief health officer told reporters in Ottawa that the patient had mild symptoms while on the flight, though he did not report his condition. After landing at the Toronto airport, he is being treated in a public hospital in isolation. In Austria, a Chinese flight attendant displaying flu-like symptoms is under observation in a Vienna hospital for positive coronavirus infection. The virology department chief of the hospital, in a news conference in Vienna, said the patient was in Wuhan during the incubation period for the virus. Though it is still not confirmed whether the patient tested positive, Austrian health authorities initiated screening of people the patient was in contact with, but none have so far showed symptoms of the infection. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, protesters set alight the lobby of a newly built residential building that authorities plan to use as a quarantine facility for the coronavirus outbreak. The fire was later put out by firefighters. Hundreds of riot police also moved in, arresting at least 1 person. Earlier on Sunday, hundreds of Hong Kong citizens blocked roads leading to the public housing block in the Fan Ling district as anger increased over government plans to convert it into a quarantine zone. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the city have climbed to 6. As fears about the virus outbreak intensify, calls have grown for Hong Kong's government to block the financial hub's border with mainland China to minimize the risk of infection. The ruling Nepal Communist Party's Agni Sapkota has been elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, the lower house of Parliament in Nepal. He was elected unopposed. A meeting of the House of Representatives was held in Kathmandu yesterday to elect the Speaker. His name was proposed by the NCP's Subhash Chandra Nembang Sapkota is scheduled to take oath of office and secrecy today. The post of Speaker was lying vacant since October last year after Krishna Bahadur Mahara resigned following allegations of attempted rape. A young child and her mother were pulled out alive from under a collapsed building in Elazig as Turkey began winding down its rescue operations following the earthquake that killed nearly 40 people. Rescuers who heard their screams took several hours to reach them in temperatures as low as -4 degrees Celsius. Both were rescued alive and unharmed. Rescue teams supported by thousands of emergency workers from other provinces and by hundreds of volunteers pulled 45 people from under the rubble since the quake. And in sad news coming in the world of sports, US basketball legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna are among 9 people who were killed in a helicopter crash in the city of Calabasas in California. Bryant was traveling in a private helicopter when it came down and burst into flames. The LA County Sheriff said there were no survivors. Bryant, a 5-time NBA champion, was widely considered one of the greatest players in the game's history. Tributes from celebrities and fellow sports stars have been pouring in, many expressing shock at his sudden death. Bryant played his entire 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers. He retired in April 2016. His achievements include being the 2008 NBA Most Valuable Player and 2-time NBA Finals MVP. He was also NBA scoring champion twice and a 2-time Olympic champion. He won an Oscar for Best Short Animated Film in 2018 for Dear Basketball, a 5-minute film based on a love letter to the sport he had written in 2015. Bryant and his wife Vanessa have 3 other daughters, Natalia, Bianca and Capri. And Anil Thomas, our correspondent, now joins us.
Bryant, who won 5 NBA championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, was considered one of basketball's all-time greats, was killed in a helicopter crash near Los Angeles along with all 4 others on board. Among the dead was Bryant's 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. The chopper went down in a remote field about 40 miles northwest of central Los Angeles.
There were no survivors. We have a manifest that indicates that there was 9 people on board the aircraft, the pilot plus 8 individuals.
From an early age, Bryant was already attracting national attention while still in high school. He went straight from school to the NBA, foregoing a college career. He played his entire 20-year career with Los Angeles Lakers, where he won 5 championships with the team and was named an All-Star on 18 occasions. He retired in 2016 as the NBA's 3rd highest all-time scorer. He also won gold medals with Team USA at the 2008 and 2012 Olympics. Such was his charisma that the news of his death showed an outpour of emotions and messages on social media. US President Donald Trump acknowledged the death of legend Kobe Bryant in California helicopter crash on Sunday, calling it a terrible news in a tweet. Former US President Barack Obama wrote on Twitter, "Kobe was a legend on the court and was just getting started in what would have been just as meaningful a second act." Former LA Lakers President Magic Johnson, a 5-time NBA champion in the 1980s, tweeted, "Kobe was a leader of our game, a mentor to both male and female players." Bryant moved into the media following his retirement in 2018. He won an Oscar for Best Animated Short for a film called Dear Basketball. Kobe Bryant will be remembered most for inspiring people around the world to pick up a basketball and compete to the very best of their ability. Sports Desk, DD India.
And Anil Thomas now joins us with more on this story. Anil, well, shock and a stunned silence, not just in the world of basketball, but beyond its borders as condolences pour in from athletes, politicians, celebrities. It's a huge loss of the death of a great legend.
Well, exactly. Good morning, Rukma. It's this particular news really left not only lovers of basketball, but the entire sporting arena and players who have even read tits and bits. It's a part of our growing up. If you look at the generation, the late 90s and early 2000, especially kids who are in their 20s would remember, kids who are in their 30s would remember Kobe Bryant as somebody, he didn't, his first name was enough to sell anything, right, for LA Lakers, right, from a pizza to to a basketball shoe. He was so prominent. His smile, his dazzling smile was something that people remember both on court and off court, and his association with the club, with one single club for such a long time, his whole association with the NBA was just sticking to one club. And the performance that he brought, not only on the field and off the field, a great ambassador of the sport, except for one particular, point of time in his career where, there was an accusation against him with regards to harassment. Other than that, he was known as a family man, somebody who was loved and cared for. And, he was looking forward to making his, his daughter now, his second daughter, who was a part of the crash and who's no more with us, make her debut there at the big stage. He was planning to launch her, and they were going to watch a game. This sudden demise, especially in a helicopter crash, clearly left not only America shattered, but the whole world shattered, especially that generation which followed basketball closely, thanks to Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, these names that were there. So Kobe Bryant's absence, Kobe Bryant's going today is surely leaving a big vacuum there. And it's a huge vacuum. I think this generation of players would find it very difficult. Somebody who was a true ambassador of the sport along with Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal. Clearly, Kobe Bryant's going is a big loss.
Right, a true ambassador of the sport, Mamba as he was known, and as you mentioned earlier as well, Anil, well, he was a transcendent figure who inspired many others. In a few words, finally, before we go and finish this conversation, Anil, what would you say is the legacy that he leaves behind?
Well, his legacy purely in terms of what he's brought to the game, 5,640 points in NBA playoff. He was a player who signed off his style. Many players can boast of that kind of an achievement, when you sign off. The last game that he played, every player, especially, in today's times, you see going down the hill, playing that final game and not getting a chance to say goodbye. In his final game there against Utah Jazz, playing for LA Lakers, he scored 60 points in his final game. And you could remember the standing ovation that he got in that final game when he played there on the basketball courts in NBA, where, people asking him to reconsider the decision. But, Kobe was somebody who once made up his mind would never change, and he decided that it's time to call time on his career, and he decided to say goodbye in style, when his game was at its peak. He had injuries niggling, troubling him time and again, but somebody who realized that he needed to sign off in style and needed to sign off when the game and the fans both respected him, and they felt that he had more to deliver. That's not all. 2 Olympic gold medals there in 2008, 2012. Clearly, not only was he, very much, today's times when you see players getting more associated with the club and less with the country, this guy really believed that, he could give more to the country, and 2 gold medals in the Olympics. That's not all. That small documentary that he made that fetched him an Oscar, a 5-minute documentary on Dear Basketball that he made, was clearly endearing. It showed his love for the game and something that he wanted to give back to the game. And he himself kept a name for himself that he used to be known as Black Mamba. And that particular club that he had formed, and he was planning to come back to coaching thanks to his daughter, who had taken a liking for basketball, and he wanted her to go big in America. So clearly, he had many roles to play as a player, as a coach, as an ambassador of the sport, but clearly somebody whose sudden demise has left a big vacuum, and I think it will be too difficult for any player to come in and fit into the shoes. Kobe Bryant is an icon in himself, and I think an icon that the world has lost suddenly and abruptly.
Right, Anil, well, thank you so much for joining us there and for your inputs. And in cricket, chasing the set target of 133 runs, India won the second T20 match against New Zealand, managing to take a 2-0 lead in the 5-match series. On a 2-paced attack, the Indian bowlers were clinical. Shami, Bumrah, Chahal, all of them chipped in with crucial bowling spells, but it was Jadeja who bowled the match-defining one. He never let the opposition off the hook as the visitors managed to restrict the Kiwis to 132. Rahul scored a 50 in the first match, but it was an unbeaten half-century that took India over the line. Also, this is for the first time that India have beaten New Zealand in 2 successive T20 internationals. And moving on to news from football, Real Madrid went 3 points clear of Barcelona at the top of La Liga with a hard-fought 1-0 win at Real Valladolid. Defender Nacho scored the only goal with a header from Toni Kroos's cross, his first La Liga goal in 2 years. Earlier, champions Barcelona lost 2-0 at Valencia on Saturday to give Zinedine Zidane's side the chance to go clear at the top. Valladolid, who are 5 points above the relegation zone, battled hard but did not manage a shot on target. And Liverpool will host Shrewsbury Town in an FA Cup fourth round replay following Sunday's 2-2 draw at New Meadow. Curtis Jones's second goal in as many games in the competition this season, a cool 15th minute finish, and an own goal by Donald Love early in the second half looked to have won the fourth round tie for the Reds. However, League One side Shrewsbury battled back and earned a trip to Anfield courtesy of a quick-fire double by substitute Jason Cummings, the first of which came from the penalty spot. Firmino was next to be summoned as the Reds sought a late winner, but Shrewsbury stood firm to secure a replay. Serie A leader Juventus lost 2-1 at Napoli on Sunday in a miserable return for former coach Maurizio Sarri and a poor day for its title challengers too. Piotr Zielinski and Lorenzo Insigne scored in the second half to inflict Juve's second league defeat of the season and end Napoli's 3-match losing streak in Serie A. But Juventus only saw its lead cut to 3 points after Inter Milan drew 1-1 earlier in the day against Cagliari. Third place Lazio is 5 points behind Juventus, but with a match in hand after it also drew 1-1 against Roma in the capital derby. Fourth seed Simona Halep overcame a gutsy display from Elise Mertens to secure her place in the Australian Open quarterfinals with a 6-4, 6-4 win. The 2018 finalist was a break-up in the first set and 2 breaks up in the second, but saw her advantage eroded by the Belgian 16 seed in both sets. However, Halep responded by moving up gears and eventually won in 1 hour 37 minutes on the Rod Laver Arena. The Romanian will play Anett Kontaveit or Iga Swiatek in the last 8. And making a winning start at the Australian Open, veteran Leander Paes reached the mixed doubles second round with partner Yelena Ostapenko, while Rohan Bopanna progressed to the quarterfinals on Sunday. Paes and Ostapenko, the 2017 French Open champion, erased a 1-set deficit to edge out local wildcards entrants Tom Sanders and Mark Polman 6-7, 6-3, 10-6 in the opening round, which lasted 1 hour and 27 minutes. Paes is competing in his last Australian Open, having announced that 2020 is his final year on the pro circuit. They will next face American Bethany Mattek-Sands and Briton Jamie Murray, who knocked out top seeds Marcelo Melo and Barbara Strikova 3-6, 6-4, 10-7 in their opening round. Bopanna and his Ukrainian partner Nadia Kichenok defeated the team of Nicole Melichar and Bruno Sor 6-4, 7-6 in their second round. And after sports, it's time to take a look at some of the top stories published in newspapers from the national capital. Well, all papers are flooded on the front pages with pictures and stories about the Republic Day celebrations which took place yesterday. The Hindustan Times has this wonderful picture of the parade, India's military might extending over Rajpath and both sides thronging with crowds who have gathered to watch the spectacle. It says here, first for the parade, and says from weapons to traditions, a look at the debuts that marked the Republic Day celebrations. Wreath laying at the National War Memorial, it mentions India's anti-satellite ASAT missile and how it was presented. Army gets a new marching contingent, all the firsts in this year's Republic Day celebrations. Now moving on to other top stories, again in the Times of India. It talks about what the Prime Minister said in his Mann Ki Baat address yesterday. It says violence has never resolved any issue. Solidarity is key. and says there's a picture there of a light moment being shared by Prime Minister Modi and chief guest at the Republic Day parade, President Jair Bolsonaro, President of Brazil. And moving on now to again a story at the bottom of the page, very interesting and a very heartening piece of news there at the bottom of the page in the Times of India about how AIIMS is offering the city's first lung transplant. Why it is so rare, says the box item. It is still high risk, but it is definitely very good news. It says the first lung transplant was done in the US in 1963. 4,000 have been conducted since, including 200 in India. Now AIIMS is offering its first lung transplant. Moving on to other news stories in other newspapers, the Indian Express talks about the coronavirus outbreak in China. In fact, many papers have something or the other, both inside as well as on the front page, in brief about the latest in the coronavirus. It says here, New Delhi on alert, looks at travel options for Indians in virus zone. Meanwhile, it also mentions that Indian students watch and wait in Wuhan, not a soul in sight. And now moving on finally to the Economic Times. As budget day draws near, the Economic Times is filled with the various news relating to it. We've selected this piece of information in which the Economic Times says, ahead of budget, companies queue up for funds on Bond Street. And well, there's a lot of expectations from both big industry, companies and corporates, as well as the common man. As far as the budget is concerned, the Economic Times also giving us this piece of heartening news. Well, that's all as far as the top stories in the newspapers this morning are concerned. It's the 27th of December today. Let's take a look at the major happenings that makes this day special in history.
Today, in the year 1921, the Imperial Bank of India, which became the State Bank of India after independence, came into existence. In the year 1974, President V.V. Giri inaugurated the Nehru Memorial Museum situated at Murti in New Delhi and dedicated it to the nation. In the year 1984, the first unit of atomic energy production was started in Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. In the year 1996, India conducted the first test flight of Prithvi 2 surface-to-surface ballistic missile having a range between 250 to 350 kilometers from the ITR at Chandipur on sea.
And we now take a look at the events listed for later today in today's Outlook.
President Ram Nath Kovind is scheduled to meet the tribal guests, tableau artists, volunteers of NSS and the NCC cadets attending the Republic Day celebration 2020 at Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. The tripartite agreement between the centre and all factions of the National Democratic Front of Bodoland is scheduled to be signed by the top leadership of the four factions of the NDFB. International Holocaust Remembrance Day is to be observed today.
And in a world where everything is almost always commercialized and commodified, a group of volunteers have been running a restaurant that has a unique outlook towards the service it provides. Customers are treated as guests and serving food is not business, but an act of humanity. Meals are free and guests pay only if they want to. In a country where a guest is revered as much as the divine, there's actually a restaurant that serves customers for free. This is Ahmedabad's Seva Cafe that runs on the model of a gift economy.
सेवा काफ़े एक अलग कॉन्सेप्ट है, तो यहाँ पे जो लोग आते हैं ना, उनकी खुशी देख के ना मुझे एक अलग एक्सपीरियंस मिलता है. सो वो एक्सपीरियंस लेने के लिए मैं यहाँ आता हूँ. अपने घर पे तो हम सबको मेहमान को खिलाते हैं, लेकिन एक अननोन पर्सन को खिलाने का जो अलग एक्सपीरियंस होता है ना, वो एक्सपीरियंस मेरे को यहाँ गेन करते हैं.
घर है तो घर में जो लोग आते हैं उनको हम बेसिकली मेहमान बोलते हैं, प्यार से खाना खिलाते हैं और खाने के बाद हम लोग एनवलप देते हैं और उसमें उनकी दिल की इच्छा जो उनको पे करना हो कर सकता है.
Seva Cafe has functioned for the past 11 to 12 years and it's all up to the customer. You pay only if you want to.
जब यहाँ आए, while we come here, we are so happy. I like everything. जैसे हमारे बच्चे हो ना, ऐसा ही हमको लगा. जैसे ऐसा लगा ही नहीं कि ये हम कहाँ आ गए, पराए हैं, ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं.
Experience was very nice. People are very nice. I take pledge that I will come and do service over here as a volunteer.
Seva Cafe is run by volunteers and is meant as a first step towards a greater goal, to inspire others to make the world a better place. With Hitansh Jain in Ahmedabad, DD News.
And here are the temperatures recorded in cities and major towns across the country in our weather report. And that's all we have for you in this edition of The Breakfast Show. But before we wrap up, we leave you with these proud moments shared by the Indian Army on the occasion of 71st Republic Day. Take a look and enjoy. Namaskar. Have a great day.